Welcome back to another episode of Studysmart. In today's video, we have the sample problem on sets that we are going to tackle, and that problem reads as thus. In a class of 500 final year students in a school, 350 studied chemistry and 200 studied physics. If 90 students studied neither subjects, using Venn diagram, find how many students studied both subjects, how many students studied only one of the subjects, and how many students studied at least one of the subjects. So we are going to do a quick one to this problem. Don't forget, we are supposed to follow the instruction rather, using a Venn diagram. So we are going to express this problem on a Venn diagram. So this is a Venn diagram analysis. This is a Venn diagram. And what is very important in identifying a Venn diagram is how many sets contained in the problem. Now they said we have chemistry and physics, which means that we have just two sets. So we are going to have the first set, and we are going to have the second set. So let's call the first set physics P, and let's call the second set chemistry, and there becomes our universal set. So now from the problem, they said in a class of 500 final year students, that means universal set, the total number of persons in the class is 500. So the universal set is 500 students. In a school, 350 studied chemistry. So the number of students that studied chemistry is 350. And 200 studied physics. So the number of students that studied physics is 200. It's 200. So now they said, if 90 students studied neither, that means 90 students studied neither physics nor chemistry. So it will be outside the set, this place. It shows that 90 students studied neither physics nor chemistry. All right. So now the first question says, how many students studied both subjects? So how many students studied both subjects? That is the intersection of both physics and chemistry. That's the number of P intersections C. Let's call this X. And the intersection between chemistry and physics is this point. So we'll call here X. And then what we need to find out is the number of students that studied physics only and the number of students that studied chemistry only. So the number of students that studied physics only will be equal to 200. The number of students that studied, there's a difference between the number of students that studied physics and the number of students that studied physics only. So take note of that. So now we are going to look for, this is the number of students that studied physics. So now we are going to look for the number of students that studied physics only. So it will be the number of students that studied physics minus the intersection of both physics and chemistry. So it will be 200 minus X. So here will be 200 minus X. So now we are going to look for the number of students that studied chemistry only. The number of students that studied chemistry only will be equal to 350 minus the intersection of both subjects. 350 minus X. So here becomes 350 minus X. So now this is the whole expression for that question. So we are going to solve this. So now they said, how many students studied both subjects? So this is what we are looking for. We are looking for this. So all we are going to do is, we are going to sum this, sum up this, and then equate it to the universal set. So what that actually means is, the number of students that studied physics only, chemistry only, and the intersection of both becomes number of students that studied. This thing actually can be represented in two ways. It's either I leave it like this, or I can come over here to rewrite it in this form. Number of students that studied, this is physics, but not chemistry. It can also be in this form. And the number of students that studied only physics, but not only chemistry, but not physics. So we can leave it in this form also. We can also leave it in the other form. So let's use this one. So now the number of students that studied physics only, but not chemistry, plus the number of students that studied only chemistry, but not physics, then plus the number of students that studied both courses, then plus don't forget, if you want to represent this set, this particular one, you can put it in this form. This is the number of B union C. So this actually means that likely students studied neither chemistry nor physics. So this is plus this, the number of students that studied neither chemistry nor physics is equal to the universal set. So this is the formula we are going to be using in tackling question A problem. So this is question A. So the number of students that studied just physics only. So the number of students that studied only physics and not chemistry is 200 minus x. So this is 200 minus x, then plus the number of students that studied chemistry only is 350 minus x, and the number of students that studied both chemistry and physics, which is this, is plus x. Then the number of students that studied neither chemistry nor physics is plus 90, which is equal to the universal set, which is 500. So now this minus x can cancel plus x, so we are left with 200 minus x plus 350 minus, okay, this is plus 90 equal to 500. So we are going to move everything to this side. We are going to be having minus x to be equal to, this is 500. So when 200 crosses the equal to side, it changes to minus 200. We have 350. When it crosses, changes to minus 350. So this is plus 90. So when plus 90 crosses, it changes to minus 90. So I have minus x equal to. So when you calculate this, you are going to be having this is 100 minus 140. So by the time I divide both sides by minus 1, if I divide here by minus 1, minus will cancel out. So I'll have x to equal to 140. So you can conclude this by saying that, therefore, the number of students that studied both subjects is equal to 140 students. So that's the answer for A. So we are going to rush quickly to B. So B says, how many students studied only one of the subjects? So now this is the first set and this is the second set. So for physics only, we are going to have physics only will be 200 minus x. This is 200 minus x. And we know the value of our x to be equal to 140. So this is 200 minus 140, which will give us, this is 200. When you remove 100 from 200, you have 100. So if you remove 40 from 100, you have 60. You have 60. So this is for physics only. So let's check out for chemistry only. This is chemistry only, which is equal to 350 minus x. So x is 140. So 350 minus x, which is 140. If I remove 100 from 300, I have 200. So if I remove 40 from 250, I'm going to have 210.
So this is the number of students that studied physics only and the number of students that studied chemistry only. So that the question said, how many students studied only one of these subjects? So the number of students that studied only one of these subjects will be equal to 60 plus 210. So this will give us 270 students. So the number of students that studied one of the subjects is equal to 270, and that's the answer for B. So quickly we are going to rush into C, and C says the number, how many students studied at least one of the subjects. So the number of students that studied at least one of the subjects will be equal to the number of students that studied physics only plus the number of students that studied chemistry only plus the intersection of both subjects. Alright, so the number of students that studied physics only and chemistry only, we know it to be 270. So this is 270, then plus the number of students that studied both chemistry and physics from our solution is 140. So this is 140. So the number of students that studied both courses will be, this is 300, this is 410. So the number of students that studied at least one of the subjects is equal to 410 students. So now to know if you are correct, you have to put all these numbers that you have gotten. Okay, now we know the value of x. So add up x to this place. If you add x to this place, it will be 200 minus x plus 300. This is 200 minus 140 plus 140 plus 350 minus 140. It should give you the universal set. It should give you the universal set to know if you are correct. So it should give you the universal set as your final answer. So here we come to the end of the video. In our next video, we are going to be looking at sample problems containing three sets. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share your thoughts on the comment section. Like this video, share to your friend, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.